Everybody's the front, and we're here for AEW on TNT review for this October the 23rd, 2021. Hopefully the last time that AEW will be preempted in company history as they move over to TBS next year. The reason they were preempted tonight and last week is because of the NHL on TNT. Hopefully that changes and we never get this to happen again. But tonight, the eliminator tournament for the TNT World Championship, the AEW World Championship is ongoing as Bryan Danielson took on Dustin Rhodes and Eddie Kingston took on Lance Archer. Malachi Black took on Cody Rhodes in one of the stupidest endings this company could have had going out there. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. Cody Rhodes absolutely refuses to lay down and take the job more than he needs to. I'll talk about that in the main event because that ending pissed me off. There is no fucking reason Cody Rhodes should be winning against the guy you're trying to build up in Malachi Black, but we'll get to that later. Started the show off with Dustin Rhodes versus Bryan Danielson. This was the first time apparently these two have ever faced off, and I believe it. Last I checked, I don't believe Dustin or Goldust and Stardust or Dustin Rhodes and his brother faced off against Daniel Bryan any time in WWE. So yeah, they've never teamed up. They never faced each other before. They've teamed up in WWE when the Rhodes boys were going up against the Shield, but they never faced each other. And this is their first time ever. And this was a really good match. Dustin Rhodes, of course, at the age 50, looking the best he's ever looked since I think ever. Even in the early days of Goldust, I don't think Dustin Rhodes has ever looked as good body-wise and wrestling-wise in his entire career. They had a handshake which Jay was like, that's a rare sight, a handshake. They're both baby faces. It wouldn't surprise me it didn't surprise me at all that they would shake hands. So it's the theme of this match was Bryan Danielson's trying to tap Dustin Rhodes out or pass him out one way or another, while Dustin Rhodes has more ring experience than Bryan Danielson, is trying to make his dream that he has never been able to make before come true, and that is win a men's a world championship in the singles division. Didn't do it in WWE, didn't do it in WCW, didn't do it in TNA or anywhere else. This would have, if he was to make it through the tournament to face off against Hangman or Kenny Omega, that would be probably the first world title match he's had in a very long time, if ever. But this was a good match, really good match between these two. Now, obviously, the winner of this match goes on to face the winner of Eddie Kingston or Lance Archer, which is the match later on, which we'll talk about that because it gets a little dicey at the end for that match. Danielson hits an enziguri, sending Dustin down. Danielson grabs Dustin's wrist and rains down on the stomps on Dustin's face because Dustin just won't go away. Danielson looks for a running knee, but Dustin counters into a huge lariat. Hits the power driver, 2 count. Dustin's firing himself up. Danielson with a knee strike off a suplex attempt. He hits the series of strikes. Danielson with a flying guillotine. Dustin fading. He got him in. He ran in, and I thought he was going for something else, and Dustin might have blocked it and was going to do something else, like maybe get him into a suplex, and then the match was going to continue. But no, he actually got him in a guillotine, and he just gets that thing cranked in. Dustin is standing up, but he eventually falls to his knees and then falls to his side. Bryan Danielson gets the vice in, the grapevine leg, the leg vines in tight and just chokes Dustin out, and that's the match. Bryan Danielson wins and moves on. Really good match. And I said it on social media, I'll say it here. This one match did more than any match in the King of the Ring or the Queen of the Ring for WWE. This was the second match of the eliminated tournament. This was a tournament match. Last night with Rampage and Powerhouse Hobbs and Orange Cassidy, it was a decent match, but this match right here is like a fuck you to anybody who doesn't know how to do tournaments, aka WWE. This was a great match. We cut the backstage and up close with the Elite Shoes. Kenny Omega Justice Dark Order's tag team match for next week, which is this coming Wednesday, as we will be going back to Wednesday. No more Saturday shows, hopefully, for the rest of the year. Omega sends a message to the Hangman, says that people really knew him like he did. People wouldn't be chanting cowboy shit. They'd be chanting coward shit. Which the Young Bucks were very impressed with that line, and Kenny Omega credited Adam Cole with giving him that line. So, yes, that's the match coming up at the pay-per-view. And we'll see what happens, because we got a few weeks left, and we'll be getting to that pay-per-view very, very soon. We get a pre-tape at FTR and Tyler Branch. They say they're happy with the AAA tag team titles, but they need the AEW World Tag Team titles to prove they are the best. He notes that they lost the tag team titles at Full Gear last year, and then spent the past year beating little kids. Penta Zampiano and Alex Napolitantes, who has a black eye from his attack last night, sends a message to FTR, and they will show them they can play Dirty Tune. Alex says vengeance is coming, and it's coming very soon. October says they can wait until Full Gear. That is the tag team title match at Full Gear. Of course, FTR are not winning the AEW World Tag Team titles. I said it before last night as well. If the Lucha Bros lose those tag team titles before we get a match or a series of matches against Pride and Powerful, that's money left on the table that AEW is not going to be too stupid to leave on the table. Tony Schiavone is in the ring with Sting and MJF to talk. I'm not MJF, but Sting to come out to talk about what happened with Darby Allin. When are we going to see Darby Allin again? And before he can say anything, and we've seen this so many times, MJF comes out. MJF comes out to talk some shit and make fun of all of this. So we're going to get to that here in 1 second.
Cut his mic. Well, I know it's real hard, but how about we try to show some class for once, huh? Oh no! Darby's little emo daddy. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Listen, man. Here trying to start a fight. The last thing I want to do is embarrass the icon in front of all these schmucks. No. I'm here to have a gentleman's chat. You see, Sting, I don't think you want to answer that talentless waste of space's question, do you? Because if you did, then you would have to tell these people the truth. And the truth is, their little hero, Darby Allin, he's not coming back. So you can come on out here and you can try to distract them by having Shabbat.
Yes, just saying, shut the fuck up. I love Orlando.
You can distract them by painting your face, by swinging a bat, by wooing hell. You can even have your leftover stash from the 80s snowed down upon them. But here's what you're not understanding, Stinger. It's easy to fool a bunch of people who solve their problems with gun violence and incest. You ain't fooling MJF. You're a bad person, Sting. Everyone who's ever been friends with you, they stay by your side through thick and thin. Fat boy, I got the microphone. And yet, when they need you most, where are you? It's because of your negligence that your friend Darby Allin has wound up in the same exact spot as your old pal, Lex Luger.
Lex Luger. Yes, Lex Luger. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Hold on.
Luger. Always finds a new low to stick to.
Yes, he does.
In a wheelchair.
Boom! Right to the face. Pow! Right in the kisser. So basically what happens is out comes Shawn Spears, out comes Wardlow. Shawn Spears attacks Sting first. That goes nowhere. Wardlow knocks him out. So they take a chair to him, beat him up. MJF takes the seat in front of him, in front of Sting after he gets his jacket and scarf back on, and sends a message to Darby Allin pretty much saying, if you come back, this is your fate. Don't come back, because you are always going to play second fiddle to me. I'm the past, present, and future of this professional wrestling. Goes to leave, Sting gets back up, he cocks back and hits him with the diamond ring right to the face to end the segment. Darby's coming back soon, and it's going to be one of those things where Darby and MJF go one-on-one at Full Gear. And that will be one heck of a match. Darby beating MJF. I don't think Darby's actually going to beat MJF, but it's going to be very interesting to see what they actually do at Full Gear. 100%. On to the TBS World Championship Tournament. The first round starts tonight as Penelope Ford took on Ruby Soho. Now, as I showed last night, we have first round buys with Chris Statlander, Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose, and Jade Cargill. They are the top 4 of the top 5. That is why Tay Conti is getting the world title shot at the pay-per-view. Obviously, Tay Conti is not winning because they definitely want Thunder Rosa versus the Faker, in which Thunder Rosa will win the AEW Women's Championship. Thunder Rosa, of course, is not winning the TBS Championship because she's going to be your next AEW Women's Champion. Sooner rather than later. Anyway. So, Tony Schiavone called the Women's Championship prestigious. The Women's Championship was prestigious when Riho won it. The Women's Championship was prestigious when Shida held it for a little over a year. The second she won that championship, it became a fucking joke. It'll be a joke until somebody who actually can fucking wrestle takes the title away from this woman. She goes back to Dark Elevation, does her stupid talk show that nobody gives a shit about. By the way, that's disappeared. Why? I wonder why. Because it was absolute shit. Gets her on Dark Elevation on the jobber side, where she loses to a Riho, a Thunder Rosa, a Nyla Rose, a Chris Statlander, and get this woman into the role she fucking should be in, and that is a fucking jobber to the stars, because she's not a star, and it's clear as day, they've been piping in the crowd noise for her every single week. Since she won that championship, other than DMD, which is something that you could be sitting there having a conversation. You look at it, you're out in the crowd, and you go, oh, DMD, because it's like the what chant, or the yes chant. That's all it is. Anyone else was to do DMD, I guarantee you they would get a chant, they would get that chant going. It's just what it is. She shit in the ring. She shit out of the ring. The minute they take that title off her, she should never be in the Women's Championship picture ever again. Anyway, Penelope Ford, Ruby Soho. This match was okay. But this match, if I'm correct, had more time in this match than the entire first round of the Queen's Crown Tournament. Penelope Ford and Ruby Soho had a longer match than 4 tournament matches in a shitty tournament that happened earlier this month combined. How about that? So, of course, Penelope Ford came out by herself. You knew that wasn't going to last very long because before we go to picture-in-picture, out comes the bunny. Yes, that's right. The bunny is here to cause mischief and havoc and ruin everybody's day, including one Ruby Soho, who she is here to help her friend. Of course, during picture-in-picture, Ruby Soho gets attacked by the bunny, which not surprising whatsoever. Now, a gimmick of Penelope Ford and the bunny has been brass knucks. They hold it. They use them to win matches. They use them to attack after the match. And I didn't see these get thrown in, but towards the end of the match, Rick Knox has his foot on something. Penelope Ford's trying to get something, and he's kicking away the brass knucks. So they were slid in off camera. He kicks him out of the ring. She's not happy about it, but Ruby Soho rolls her up for the 1, 2, 3, and Ruby Soho moves on to take on Chris Statlander in a couple weeks. I think, yeah, in a couple weeks. So after the match, Penelope Ford and the Bunny are in the ring, 2-on-1 against Ruby Soho. Out comes Red Velvet to make the save as they make Bunny and Ford run off. Of course, the Bunny will be taking on Ruby Soho. I'm not Ruby Soho, but Red Velvet later in the tournament. And it's probably going to, and the winner of that goes on to face Jade Cargill, utterly to get killed by Jade Cargill because it's the Bunny and Red Velvet. You think one of those two is going to beat Jade Cargill? No. Someone's going to beat Jade Cargill. It's going to be a Thunder Rosa or a Ruby Soho, plain and simple. MJF in the Pinnacle are backstage. FTR nowhere to be seen because they're probably on the Jericho Cruise. This was a special, interesting week of wrestling for AEW because Jericho and a select few of AEW's wrestlers are on the Jericho Cruise. Now, we were supposed to, if COVID never happened, 2020 would have seen, or 2021 would have seen the Jericho Cruise. Like AEW would have had a show live from the Jericho Cruise. That was Cody Rhodes and the AEW's mission, was to get the next Jericho Cruise to have a live edition. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and here we are where I believe FTR were on that cruise. But you have Willow asked MJF about running away while he got beat up. And MJF assures Willow he's doing a good job. But he says it's too much to hold himself accountable. So he gives Willow an accountable buddy. Sean Spears. MJF says, guys, I gotta go. And Sean Spears is just sitting there like, hey, like, I didn't know anything about this. This is all MJF. I had no idea. I don't know what any of this is. Clearly, they're building to MJF and Wardlow finally having the splits. Now, if you watch on YouTube and everything, there is this guy for Barstool who does a show called Wrestling. It's a talk show. It's a question and answer show. He talks to talent. He talks to AEW and WWE talent. And he had MJF on there, and MJF made a mockery of this guy the entire time. But when he was talking about the Pinnacle, he talked highly about FTR, highly about Sean Spears. But when he got to Wardlow, he's like, Wardlow, oh, he's there, whatever. And then there's me. So clearly, MJF thinks very, very little of Wardlow. And someday, very, very soon, Wardlow is going to be away from MJF and the Pinnacle. And you got to think, Wardlow made his debut 2 years ago, siding with MJF. This has been building for 2 years. They've teased it a bunch of times. And honestly, I don't know why they haven't gone through with it yet. I mean, they didn't really need Wardlow with MJF anymore. MJF could go out and get a new muscle. That's the thing. MJF could buy Lance Archer from Jake Roberts. He could buy Nick Camarato from the factory. He can get any other muscle he needs. Wardlow can go out on his own, and it's going to happen very, very soon. The split just keeps on being teased, and it's going to be followed through with very, very soon. Bobby Fish versus Anthony Green. This match was added late. I don't know why. Basically, it was a short squash match. Anthony Green gets very little in. Dragon Screwed followed by a sliding lariat. Fish with a huge suplex into the ropes followed by the KO kick for the 1, 2, 3. So, after the match, Bobby Fish is, he gets on the ropes. He puts his arms up. He's cheering and everything. And he goes to leave, but he sees Anthony Green is getting back up. So he goes back over to Anthony Green, kicks his leg in, and starts beating the shit out of this guy. And he's like, what happened? What happened? And just starts beating this guy to a pulp. When CM Punk in casual wear with a ball cap on backwards, which I couldn't even tell it was CM Punk to start out with. I didn't even realize it. I don't even think the crowd realized it was CM Punk because the dude had a ball cap on. I swear he looked like Stephen Amell. I literally thought when the guy was running down, I'm like, oh my god, is Stephen Amell here? What the fuck? And no, it was CM Punk. So he gets Fish to leave, and on Wednesday it'll be CM Punk versus Bobby Fish. I can't say for the first time ever. Maybe they met each other in Ring of Honor before, but this will be the first time. And if it is the first time ever, if it's not, it'll be the first time in well over 10 years. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Bobby Fish and CM Punk on Wednesday. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. During the title match, during the Eliminator Tournament match early on, one Tony Nese was in the crowd. They showed him during both title Eliminator Tournament matches. And makes me wonder, is Tony Nese, because this is like a WWE, this is NXT 1.0 at TakeOver type thing. Somebody signs with the company or signing with the company, they show up in the crowd. Tony Nese was there and was shown only specifically during the World Championship title Eliminator Tournament matches. And AEW is not showing him for no reason. So, will Tony Nese be on the next episode of Dark? He wasn't on Dark Elevation, I saw those results. But will he be making his debut in the company very, very soon? Who knows? Shivani is backstage with Leo Rush and Dante Martin. Shivani asks for the update with this new tag team. Rush says he has to mentor Dante and show him his way up. He says, I'm going to show him how to succeed more than Matt Sydal ever could. Dante's like, dude, he's been a great mentor. Rush says, he's good at what? Losing when the matches count. I gave him a chance to prove what he was. He was one of the best of the best, and he failed. And I know who is one of the best in the world, Dante Martin. And I want to help show him that. It says he knows he's better than Matt Sydal, and he asked Tony Khan for a tag team match on Rampage. Dante's like, who? Well, the Sydal brothers on Rampage. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's fine. That should be an interesting match. Leo Rush's first match since February or March, whenever they had that match. He was in the Battle Royal. Yeah, that would be interesting to see what happens. Leo Rush getting a tag, getting in match. Then I was wondering where Mike Sydal was. We haven't seen Mike Sydal in a good while. So there you go. Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer, World Title Eliminator Tournament match. This match, Now, before the match started, Eddie Kingston attacked Lance Archer as he was making his way to the ring, so they fought for a good long while outside. So much so that Lance Archer grabbed some poor soul, obviously a plant, picked him up, threw him over, and then picked him up again, got him on the apron, picked him up, and choke slammed him into Eddie Kingston. What the fuck? Now, the only thing that people are going to be talking about this match is how Lance Archer damn near killed himself. I don't know what this guy was thinking. I don't know what he was thinking. But Archer goes up to the top and goes for a moonsault. Lance Archer is a big dude and should not be doing a fucking moonsault. Think Brock Lesnar 2003 shooting star press. He landed straight on his head and he collapsed. For minutes, it felt like. He was just laying on the mat, hardly moving. They show Tony Nese has no Nese reacts to this. The refs check on Archer as he rolls outside. Doc Simpson checks on Archer. Archer eventually rolls back into the ring, gets scooped up immediately. 1, 2, 3. Quick audible to get this over with, and he is done, and Eddie Kingston moves on. It's a sad way for Eddie Kingston to move on. It sucks to see this. Honestly, I think that Lance Archer was going to win this match. Because Lance Archer versus Bryan Danielson, to get Bryan Danielson onto the finals, would have been a much bigger story to tell than Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, which, don't get me wrong, is going to be a hell of a match. But it just, like, the way he hits, the fact that he didn't move for a bit. I know, like, I'm thinking Brock Lesnar, I'm thinking Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, Stone Cold was power driving onto his head, and the dude was able to move eventually. That's what it felt like watching this, because I just don't know. It just, like, he started moving, he's, like, being checked by the doc. They come in, they do the roll-up spot where Archer gets pinned. If he's really that injured and it's a title tournament eliminator, like, if he was supposed to win, they're going to have him lose. It just fucking sucks. I hope he's okay, but man, I hope somebody in the backstage, when he comes to and he's able to have a coherent conversation, say, Tony Khan needs to go to him and say, don't you ever do a moonsault again. I don't care what the match stipulation is. I don't care. Don't you ever do that again. And that's a big if this because that move right there could have killed him, could have paralyzed him, could have ended his career tonight. As far as we know, we don't know anything. Hopefully, we know very soon that Lance Archer is okay and he'll be able to be back in no time. But that was so scary that for a moment it looked like Lance Archer might have ended his career for a spot that was not necessary. Thoughts and prayers go out to him. Hope everything will be okay in the long run. God damn, man. Archer, don't ever do that again. So we get the Dan Lambert and Men of the Year shit. Don't give a fuck. Sammy Guevara comes out, and the stipulations for them is that they will get a 10-man tag match at Full Gear. Men of the Year, American Top Team versus Bryant versus the Inner Circle. If, and only if, this coming Wednesday, Ethan Page gets a TNT Championship match. It doesn't matter if he wins, he has to get the championship match, and Sammy Guevara has to win. If he loses, he's no longer TNT champion, and he has to leave the Inner Circle forever. Sammy agrees on one condition. When he wins, he gets to pick the 3 members of American Top Team who will be in the 10-man tag match. Just going to put this out here right now. That is a bathroom break match for me at Full Gear. No fans or buts about it. That and the Women's Championship match, because Miss Botcha, the botchiest champion of all time, is going to stink up the joint just like she does every single week. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Sammy Guevara versus Ethan Page should be a hell of a match. That's like, as long as everybody else is banned from ringside, which Tony Khan should come out on social media and be like, this has a lot of stakes riding high on it. There needs to be no interference, one fall to a finish, nobody, there must be a winner, because there's a lot of stakes in on this. So I'm hoping that Tony Khan between now and Wednesday comes out and says, everyone's banned from ringside. If anybody from either side comes out and causes any kind of shit in hell, then Sammy wins. The other person wins, even if somebody steps a foot on the stage or in the crowd. Then the other person wins automatically, and we move on from there. That's the only way you make this work. So we have a one fall to the finish, no fuckery, no nothing, and of course Sammy Guevara should win. If it's just Ethan Page and Sammy Guevara and no kind of fuckery, it's a match that actually I would look forward to. Ethan Page is a really good wrestler. It's just they got him doing jack shit, and now they haven't. Honestly, since Ethan Page made his debut, the biggest thing he did in the company was make his debut. They haven't done jack shit with him very much at all. Jon Moxley, who will be taking on 10 on Wednesday. Obviously, he's going to beat 10, but I'm sure 10 is not going to be just laying down for Jon Moxley. He's backstage and he says he's not interested in screaming and yelling about his match against 10. He talks about how the only thing he cares about is when he goes home and he sticks his finger out, his broken finger, and his daughter clamps onto it, is his pinky, and just clamps onto it, what that felt like. He said he doesn't care about this tournament, the championship, the demo, or anything else. All he cares about is coming home to his daughter and doing this. Jon Moxley's on his road to being heel. Jon Moxley, this is going to by the time this tournament is over, Jon Moxley is going to be a heel. He's going to be the heel to win this tournament. Bryan Danielson is going to lose his first match to Jon Moxley. Well, his first singles match. Because he was on that eight-man match that got beat by the Elite. But he's going to take his first pinfall loss to a heel Jon Moxley, and then Jon Moxley is going to go on to take on Adam Hangman Page. I don't ultimately lose to Adam Hangman Page, probably by his own volition. So, very interesting promo. It's the first time we've seen Jon Moxley just cool, calm, no yelling, no screaming, no out of this craziness coming from him. This is going to be very interesting to see what they do with Jon Moxley going through this tournament. And he says, I will get you before you get me. I'll win this whole damn thing. Which, now, hindsight being 2020, if Jon Moxley does win this tournament, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, they got to have Kenny Omega beat Hangman Adam Page. It only makes sense. Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. It would be, because that would be interesting too, and it would throw a wrench in a few things, because Kenny Omega won the Eliminator tournament last year to go face Jon Moxley. 1 year later, Jon Moxley wins the Eliminator tournament to go face, in thinking, Kenny Omega. And the roles would be reversed, so they'd both be heels. Now, Hangman Page wins at full year. You've been building that for way too long. That's been a 2-year build of Hangman failing every step of the way, yet he finally gets the vindication that he has been seeking since he lost to Chris Jericho at All Out 2019. Guevara is back with his cue cards. After this, he says he shows off doing picture-in-picture. The cards recap what happened with the American Top Team. He says, now it's time to run his mouth like American Top Team did. He says the match is the page ahead of the match on TV next week. It'll be a Boston TNT party. Doug sort of backstage, they're talking. Hangman joins them. He says he's sorry he didn't connect with them sooner, and says they were right. He says he knows the Elite will have a costume for Halloween and asks if they will make sure they won't get beat. They start having some conversation. He just backs up as they talk about what they want to wear. Brandon Cutler versus Jungle Boy. This match is happening because Jungle Boy put Brandon Cutler in the snare trap. I think it was last week or the week before that. And this is just a way for Jungle Boy to terrorize Brandon Cutler. My question for this is, you have this guy called Frankie Kazarian who has the tag name The Elite Hunter. He hasn't been doing much elite hunting lately, has he? What is he doing? Jungle Boy, he beats him up. It wasn't very long. Jungle Boy, Brandon Cutler does try to go for a Panama Sunrise. It doesn't work because Jungle Boy just flips him over. Cutler then comes up, slaps this guy in the face, and just like, oh, just got his hands in his mouth like, oh, look, I got him good. Jungle Boy just gets a flurry of strikes on this guy, puts him in the snare trap, and that was that. Match over. Done. He gets the mic. He says, "Thank you. That was a good warm up. Good try, kid. One of you elite pieces of shit, come down here right now." No one answers, so he puts him in the snare trap again. He holds the mic to cover his mouth and like, somebody help me, please help me. Adam Cole finally comes out. Obviously, this match is probably what we're getting at Full Gear, is Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy. Makes the most sense. He calls Jungle Boy embarrassing for his actions. He says they can fight right here, right now. He takes his jacket off, comes down to the ring, gets on the apron. Jungle Boy knocks him off. Turns back around, super kick from both Young Bucks. They beat him up. They take him over to the stage. BTE trigger. Then Adam Cole lands the broom. And they throw him off the stage afterwards. Where was Luchasaurus? People were chanting for him. Well, Luchasaurus was put through a table last week, aka he's probably on Jericho's cruise as well, and this is a way to write him off, so to explain why he's not there. So they took him, they tossed him off the stage ways away through a table. Again, it looks like we're either getting the Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks at Full Gear, or Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole at Full Gear. Mira's in the dark room yelling at his guard, telling it's time for the champion to return. How dare you test me? How dare you forsake me? I will be God's favorite champion again. I will be God's choice. There will be blood on my hands, horror in my eyes because of you. Where is this going? What is he going to be doing? How was he not in the AEW Eliminator tournament? Is beyond me, but honestly, if it was going to happen that way, Miro would have to be the one, in my opinion, to win the Eliminator tournament, and that's probably why he's not in it. Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. No, the match was fine. The match was good. Lee Johnson, before we go to commercial break, Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson come out, but when we come back from commercial break, I don't even think they were there anymore. Maybe Arn came to them and it's go to the back, we don't need you here. Maybe Cody said that, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to picture-in-picture because who the fuck pays attention to picture-in-picture? But we come back from break, they go through a table, Cody's bleeding, Malachi's laying under the ring, obviously blading himself, even though Jared's Malachi's probably looking for that chair, obviously blading. They both get up, they're both bleeding. They get back. Well, Arn Anderson, for whatever reason, is standing in the ring. While both of these men are down, he's standing in the ring. No explanation, no reason why. So, they basically, Malachi hits him with the kick, with the black mass. Cody falls into the ropes. So, Malachi gets hit with the Cody Cutter, Crossroads, and then a Tiger Driver to get pinned. And Cody gets his fucking redemption. Why did Cody need to beat Malachi Black? And I want someone to justify to me why Cody Rhodes needed to beat Malachi Black. I really want to hear somebody tell me why Cody Rhodes needed to win tonight. Cody Rhodes continues to put everyone against me. The world against me. Everybody wants to be against me. I have to fight the good fight, and I'm gonna win. Ask Lance Archer how his career in AEW has been since losing to Cody Rhodes. It hasn't been very good. Ask Anthony Ogogo, who we haven't seen since he got beat by Cody Rhodes at Double or Nothing, how losing to Cody Rhodes affects you. Cody refuses to put almost anybody over. The only person Cody has put over in this company from start to finish was Darby Allin when he lost the TNT Championship to Darby Allin. Other than that, if Cody loses to somebody, you're damn straight Cody's going to get the win back eventually. It's fucking stupid. Malachi Black, you were building up as this evil, sadistic, satanic type creature, competitor who should not be losing for any fucking reason right now. But why? Why does Cody need to win tonight? Is he going to get in line for an AEW World Title match eventually? Oh, that's right. He can't challenge for the AEW World Title because in 2019, he got some kind of stupid tick in his head that says, you need to have a match with Chris Jericho, and you need to go out there on TV and tell us, if you do not win, I can never challenge for the title again. We're 2 years later from that, and it looks like the dumbest stipulation they have made yet. Why does Cody need to win? Cody is fucking Teflon. The crowd wasn't happy. The crowd was booing him, and every time he went to a pinfall, the boos got louder. Turn Cody Rhodes heel or make this son of a bitch retire because he is holding AEW's younger talent back. He is the Triple H of AEW. You have all this momentum. You're building yourself up. You're a new talent. You're somebody that looks like the company's invested in. You're going to face Cody Rhodes, and guess what? You're going to lose. Why? Because we have to make Cody Rhodes look strong for what fucking reason? This wasn't the second match. This was the third and final match. You have built it as Cody versus Malachi Black 3, the finale. Cody should have fucking lost, plain and simple. Malachi moves on to Pac, and him and Pac have a match. Malachi should not have lost, period. Nobody can justify this whatsoever. It's just Cody Rhodes and his ego getting the best of everything and saying, like, I don't need to lose again. I've lost twice to this guy. Yes, you need to lose. That's how you put young talent and younger talent over. He didn't need to beat Malachi Black. Now Malachi Black, I don't think this is going to kill Malachi, but it's definitely going to hurt Malachi. Malachi losing to Cody does no favors for nobody. This just, and you wonder why, and people wonder why people boo Cody. Because of bullshit like that. Cody didn't need to win the night. Cody doesn't need to be in the, like, he can't even be in the title picture. Yeah, he can be challenging for the TNT Championship, but nobody wants to see him challenge for the TNT title. It's his own stupidity that he made it so he can't even challenge for the world title. If he would have said, I can't challenge for the world title for 2 years, that would have been better. But saying, I can never challenge for the world championship again has really come back to bite this company in the ass. If you can't go for the world championship, why are you even here? Cody needs to fucking take a back seat, stop fucking wrestling, go be an EVP, and let the younger talent and the talent that people actually want to see go out there and make this company flourish. You built you set the foundation and started building putting the blocks together to build this company. We don't fucking need you anymore, Cody. Go be an EVP, do your fucking rose to the top, which nobody gives a shit about in the first place, and stop holding talent back. Period. Shitty fucking ending. Malachi should have won. You can't justify. Nobody can justify Malachi losing. Period. Clean, in fact. That is your AEW review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds of the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/France Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys on Monday for another shitty episode of Raw. We already have Rematch Mania in this new era of Raw. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.